Good evening, everyone. I'm super excited to welcome you all to our first episode of our D2C Masterclass, Redefining Conversion and Retention with Shopify and WhatsApp. I'm Ahsahd Jussawalla, VP and Business Head at Interact, and I have close to 2 decades of entrepreneurial and startup experience, and having run my own small businesses and having lived the challenges faced by so many other small businesses, I now consider it as my calling to help solve problems of other SMBs. And that's exactly what we do at Interact. We try to solve the challenges faced by small businesses that prevent them from growing faster. And to do that, we use the power of the world's most preferred and most loved app, WhatsApp. We have an exciting session lined up today, but before we dive in and get to our panelists, here's a brief introduction of what Interact is for those uninformed. Interact is a product by GeoHaptic, and it's built on top of the official WhatsApp business APIs. It empowers businesses to manage their customer communication at scale, automate replies in the form of automated replies to their customers, promote their brands via WhatsApp campaigns, and of course, sell more by automatically enabling end-to-end shopping journeys for their buyers. And by the way, we also integrate with your favorite business apps, CRMs, and e-commerce stores. That's plenty for Interact. And now to kick things off, it's my privilege to welcome our distinguished panelists this afternoon. We have with us today Swati Mishra. Swati is partner manager at WhatsApp India. She has 9 years of experience in the internet industry with a focus on client and partner management. She's here to help us understand how businesses can leverage WhatsApp commerce this upcoming festive season. Hi, Swati. Great to see you here.
Hey, Ahsahd. Very nice to be here. Yeah, looking forward.
Likewise. Also, joining us from the Shopify team is Siddharth Rana. He heads Shopify market development efforts in India and South Asia. He's passionate about entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs and has 10 plus years of experience in setting up and building large SMBs and consumer-facing technology platforms across industries like e-commerce, internet, and financial services. Today in our masterclass, Siddhant will be sharing his valuable insights on why Shopify is the de facto platform chosen by many D2C brands in India. Siddhant, super excited to have you on the panel as well.
Thanks, Ahsahd, for the warm introduction. Looking forward to the session today. And yeah, I think we have a great set of topics lined up. So I'm hoping to really enjoy myself.
Very excited myself. Thank you. Now, before we dive into questions, from our panelists, I just want to point out a very interesting article that I came across on Forbes, and it mentioned the rise of social commerce and conversational commerce is expected to grow almost 3 times faster than traditional commerce, right? And is expected to reach $1.2 trillion by 2025. My question to Swati and Siddhant, both of you, is that do you resonate with these findings? And also with the rise of conversational commerce and social commerce in India, what kind of evolution in online shopping trends do you predict in the coming years? Siddharth, if you'd like to start, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. I can go first. So I always like to take a step back and just see where we are, right? Like with the e-commerce market as a whole. We've been seeing like 20-25% growth year on year. This year, we are expecting that entire market to swell to around $65-70 billion in India. And in another year or so, it'll become $100 billion, right? And that's a sizable number, but as a portion of the overall commerce happening in the country, it's still only about sub 10%, right? And we've obviously seen, with this massive growth in the e-commerce market, there's been a whole host of D2C brands that have come up in categories we wouldn't have imagined, like gardening equipment, fitness accessories. We've also seen traditional brands move and build their own online presence and try to go direct to consumer, right? And this is all being done on the back of more and more consumer shopping. So it's important to understand where these consumers are, right? I feel like we've reached the first 100 million shoppers so far. And I feel like we're at a point where it's the next 100 million shoppers who are going to be, driving a large part of this growth that we're going to see. And, if you see where those shoppers are, most of those shoppers are not in the metros and the tier 1s. They tend to be in the tier 2s, tier 3s, and onwards. And this next 100 million shoppers, right? Like when they go online and they buy their first phone and one of the first few apps that they install is WhatsApp, right? So you are bound to see not just conversations happening there, but a lot more than that, right? And as a result, a lot of what we're seeing in terms of conversational commerce, social commerce is playing out. I also want to call out, though, that I feel like one of the things that's also happening is that consumers are everywhere, right? They're online, they're offline. Online, they're on, obviously social platforms like WhatsApp, Facebook. They're on video platforms like YouTube, OTTs, publications. And I feel like commerce is also going to follow in the same way, right? So I think that's something that we as a platform have recognized and are working towards. And I feel like the WhatsApp sales channel is one of the steps in that direction.
Great, thank you.
I can add to a little bit to what Siddhant said. I think completely aligned what he mentioned, that there's a consumer behavior changing. People are more interested to go online. And I again put it in two parts, right? Like even in non-metros, of course, no brainer. People are trying to try first time, like they still shop offline and online, like it's a hybrid. So you still want that same feeling of going and buying, asking 10 questions, and like assisted selling or assisted shopping. So this makes it seamless, and you are not already there trying to change a behavior of physical shopping. So now you're not asking the consumer to go, like you're basically present where consumer is, which is WhatsApp. And the feeling is very similar of assisted buying. Of course, it's not like replacing physical, but like it's again assisted buying. And sometimes they know what they want to buy, and it's easier to sort of reorder immediately. And when it comes to metros, right now, again, assisted has a very interesting sort of take, I feel. Reason being, as more and more brands come in, as Siddhant was saying, like things we could not even imagine before, and we are going deeper into the categories, and people are becoming very specific. Like there are answers like, hey, the animal cruelty to organic to non-organic to keto to what kind of sugar is in it, like, even if sugar and non-sugar, what kind of non-sugar in it. So the kind of questions we have and the kind of choices we have, both from either we know what we want, so it's a matter of ordering immediately rather than exploring, or we have so many questions that we want somebody to assist us, suggest us, consult us. So I think from both these perspectives, I feel like if it's a very sophisticated shopper in a metro or a very new shopper in a non-metro, I think WhatsApp helps both ways. So that is where I'm thinking, and that is the trend I feel coming in. Either you are getting a new customer and just telling him, hey, it's just the same way you were doing it, or asking an old customer, old high value customer, saying that, hey, we know what you want, just in a click, can you order? So I think I'm looking at the trend in that way.
Understood. No, valid points. I think what I'm taking away from this is, Siddhant, you definitely mentioned and the need to be omni-channel and omnipresent for a brand, right? And just, your customers are everywhere and you really need to serve them at the point where they are. And Swati, what you also highlighted was the fact that, perhaps commerce is now going back to its roots, right? Where traditionally you would walk into a store, have a chat with the salesperson, and I think online, that sort of behavior is replicated on a platform like WhatsApp, where conversations are taking place and then perhaps sales are happening. So we're probably going back to the assisted selling model is what you're saying. And then, of course, you touched on a very important point, Siddhant. The question on everyone's mind, where are the next 100 million shoppers coming, right? Today, everyone's running behind the 150 million odd buyers, and all platforms share the same inventory pretty much. But WhatsApp having its reach beyond these 100 million. Swati, do you feel that WhatsApp can help bridge that gap?
100%, Ahsahd. Even if I was not representing WhatsApp, if anybody can bridge the gap, that's WhatsApp, at least at this point. Reason being because of reach, and as you mentioned, even if the first phone you buy, this would be the first or second app you download. So from that perspective, I feel that is the reach. I think it's about 550 million at this point and increasing. So and with more and more phones coming in, which are in more affordable category, I think this will just increase. So yeah, for sure.
Great. Siddhant, my next question is for you, right? When a small business is starting up and wanting to sell online, typically, they today have a variety of options available, right? From do-it-yourself platforms like Shopify, of course, and then to custom-built solutions. I want to know what makes Shopify the de facto platform of choice for these businesses, and how can they use Shopify to scale their growth in terms of sales and support?
Yeah, thanks.
We also have a poll coming up for the audience. Maybe they can take that.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to the feedback on that as well. I just want to build on that trend of, shopping everywhere, right? The complexity of running a commerce business is just going up every day, right? And what businesses are looking for is ease, trust, high security, and being able to derive value from the platform that they're using, right? Shopify's online store offering has been known, very well known, in fact, over the years, because of its ease to set up, customizability, best uptimes. I mean, I could go on. There's a long list, but what's really working in our favor now is we're reducing that complexity by allowing our merchants to sell everywhere, right? Not just through their online store, but through social channels. If they want to sell offline, there's a POS offering. If you want to sell across geos, there's a good cross-border offering that you could use on Shopify. We're locally integrated with almost all the big payment gateways, 20 plus gateways. We have 10 plus shipping partners and almost 5,000 plus apps, right? Including the WhatsApp sales channel, which basically builds that connect and allows the merchant to also start selling on WhatsApp, right? So I think those are some of the things that really help us create a strong value for our merchants. And we've been seeing good traction from not just globally, but India also, right? Like post-COVID, we've almost seen a 3x growth in our merchant base. And I think one more thing that's unique about Shopify, and I always bring this up, for merchants who are thinking about starting a business or picking a platform, right? You want to be with a platform that creates the least amount of friction for you as a brand over your life, right? And I think Shopify is one of those rare platforms which can support a brand which is just starting out all the way to an enterprise grade merchant, right? So if you just want to try an experiment, go for the 399 rupee plan per month, which we've just recently launched. It's called the Shopify Starter Plan. And club that with your WhatsApp sales channel and you're good to go, right? So a lot of entrepreneurs as a result can use Shopify through their life. So just want to, I think those are some of the things that are valuable about the platform.
No, absolutely. I think, I've heard this from so many merchants. Also, it's just the simplicity, the ability to scale on a single platform, the no code, no headache. And of course, the App Store ecosystem is a major plus because you have pretty much any add-on that you can think of, right? Already built out on platform, and that just helps the entire ecosystem to grow much faster. Great. Swati, my next question is, more for you, right? WhatsApp, when it started off, it obviously started off as a P2P messaging app, right? And over the years, we've seen it evolve to a platform used by almost every business in some shape or form. My question to you is, what brings WhatsApp to the forefront of business communications? And why is it important for a brand or business to consider WhatsApp as a serious channel for sales and support these days?
For sure. So to answer your first question, what does WhatsApp have to bring it to the forefront of business communication? So from a WhatsApp business platform perspective, I think the features that you have, even before features, let me take a step back, like basically gives you access to everyone and anyone who is on WhatsApp. If your customers are on WhatsApp, you can meet them. Again, it has the best of both the worlds. Like it is as conversational as it can be, almost like a phone, but you don't have to have that waiting period. If you're talking to a brand, or a brand is talking to the customer, there's no waiting period. It can be async. You can do two things, and one of the thing can be conversing with a brand. You can take your time. And and the features which it has, like list and buttons and now the whole MPM implementation, it makes it very easy to interact with the WhatsApp platform, right? Like you don't have to type everything. You can choose options wherever there is a possibility of choosing and go ahead. So from a communication, like what a business wants, it having very simple, frictionless communication. So it solves that it is, you don't have to bring your customers anywhere and they don't have to type a lot. They can just use the interactive buttons and get things going. Now to your second question, that how can they consider it as a serious channels for sales and support? I would rather suggest planning for WhatsApp as a digital identity for a brand and not just one of the channels. Because like any other digital identity, it can help across, platform for what we call end-to-end commerce. So you can start from acquiring customers using ads that click to WhatsApp, the Facebook ads that click to WhatsApp, WhatsApp me link on your website, Insta, Facebook, emails, if you send any other communication digital form. On an offline format, acquisition can go from a QR code or a phone number, sort of spreading awareness about phone number. And this could be via your printed invoice, via your flyers if you are a small business, via print ads if you're giving it in newspaper, via your packaging, getting that WhatsApp number packaged. Similarly, once you've acquired, engaging, right? Having that catalog integration and product discovery via MPM messages, especially around cart abandonment, then talking to the customer in multiple languages and very easy switch, depending on if it's required or not, like between a bot and an agent, the whole conversation. Again, when it comes to you have acquired a customer, sold once, engaged them, sold once. Now retaining a customer, right? Like somebody has ordered. So giving post-order updates like delivery, asking for a product feedback, returns or anything of that sort, any query on how to use, either using a bot, sending like video and all of that, or like transferring it to an agent. Again, the final and one of the most important things which everyone is looking at is lifetime value of a customer. So again, selling a product, upselling a product which was related to the previous purchase. So just pinging that very particular product, the marketing notification around it and getting it sold, or very targeted notification around cart drop-offs, price drop alerts, sale alerts, or like if you're using a CRM, the behavior or the cohort you've put in a person and tracking that habits and then reaching out to them in terms of very targeted, very, customized or personalized kind of notifications or reach out. So that is where I think it's a full-fledged end-to-end kind of commerce solution, like from acquisition to lifetime value, everything you can do. And that's why I would want anyone to look at WhatsApp, especially for any brand which is planning to start on WhatsApp.
Got it. So if I'm hearing you correctly, what you're saying basically is that, at one point of time, it was very important for every business to have a storefront. Then came the websites, then the mobile apps, and now having an identity on WhatsApp is almost like a mandate or, a necessity in today's day and age, right?
Sure.
And I think the common thread that binds, Shopify and WhatsApp, and the reason why both have the, tremendous market adoption is simplicity at the core of it, which kind of, just resonates really well with the merchants, I think. Great. So, also interestingly, the shift towards conversational commerce is a fairly recent phenomena, right? And I think, as I see it, in the initial months of the lockdown, e-commerce as we knew it had ceased to pretty much exist. And we were all left at the mercy, and the local stores came to our rescues. And the common mode of communication, at least what I observed, was everyone was communicating with their local merchants on WhatsApp and managing to get their orders delivered, fulfilled, etc. Do you think that was also kind of a turning point that led to adoption of WhatsApp as a business tool?
100%. I think not just WhatsApp, right? Like we moved multifold in terms of digitization suddenly. Like even I think Siddhant would agree, nobody had planned this. Like everybody had planned the digital movement, I think 2 years back, 2 years or 3 years later, which happened. I think nature's forces made that to us. I think, yes, you're right, Ahsahd. Like while in the past, when we were doing, if we had an opportunity, we did that conversational commerce. And during COVID, what helped was, even if you were not doing it, you were forced to do it. So the change of behavior, which businesses would have to do or would have to invest like heavily, I think that happened soon. That is where I would see. But otherwise, a lot of conversational commerce was happening in a very unstructured way. What the platform will do is giving structure to that conversational commerce, and like more ease, multilingual approach, and all of that.
That makes sense. This exponential growth that we're expecting in conversational and social commerce, right, is slated to come mostly from the Gen Z and millennial audiences. All right, these are the guys who are now going out and interacting, buying, etc., with brands. Siddhant, my question to you is, how important is personalization when it comes to a Gen Z, millennial, in the scheme of things that we are today? And what are the steps that brands could probably take to win a customer's trust and loyalty?
I love this question because I feel very passionately about it. I think personalization is like global warming. Yeah, everyone talks about it, few people understand it, and even few people actually are doing anything about it, right? Like, so I'll start with what I think most brands need to do more of, right? Like, which is getting your brand story right and having a connect with your audience, right? I feel like a lot of the selling that happens today happens in a way where, it's a product, it has certain features, and the price is what drives the closure, right? Like, but I feel like brands have an amazing opportunity to actually try to make a connect with your audience, right? Like, and that happens when you get your brand story in terms of why you're doing it, and you try to match it with your customer, right? I think that's the first step for any brand to really start personalizing for their target segment of customers. Anytime there's emotion, there's a 22x higher recall, right? And once you have those shared values and trust, there's an 80% chance of conversion, right? Like, so you've done most of the loyalty part by doing that right. So I'll start there. In terms of personalization and the tools that are available, right? Like, there's a whole host of tools that we make available on Shopify. Like, obviously you can personalize the banners, you can personalize notifications through WhatsApp. There are product recommendations that you can enable on your website. And you can do all this with a lot of data behind it, right? Understanding what segment of customers you are dealing with. Looking at their browser history, looking at the device type, looking at the season you are in, looking at the location they're coming from. And you can get into the depth of getting personalization right. Last thing I want to say about personalization is, I feel like personalization is important, but it doesn't make sense for everyone, right? For a brand that probably has more than 10,000 visitors, more than 50 SKUs, has like at least the basic conversions right, personalization starts to make sense. But for somebody who has maybe say 5 SKUs, in one go you can showcase your entire catalog, right? So you really don't need to personalize beyond the limit on that front. So it's sort of important to understand when is personalization right for you as a brand. And yeah, needless to say, like, the WhatsApp sales channel is a great way to personalize. It's a tool that, with great power comes great responsibility, because you get 90% plus open rates. So you need to make sure that your content is something that your buyers like, right? And respond to. It has to be timed right. It has to be the right content with the right sort of messaging. Otherwise, it's just a lost opportunity, because it's as easy for them to block you and report you as well. So it's something that I tell brands that this is something you have to take very, very seriously and think very deeply about as you build your business. Those are my thoughts on personalization.
No, makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Swati, I'm going to come to you for the next question, right? I think a lot of the audience members perhaps have, would like to understand the basic differences between a WhatsApp business app and a WhatsApp business platform, and when making use of which platform, and a solution like Interact built on the WhatsApp business platform, why would one choose one over the other?
For sure. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So SMB app, like or the small WhatsApp business app, which is saying the SMB app, it provides one-to-one manual communication, and up to 4 people can use it to each to respond a customer message, either on a phone number or a browser. Versus the API-based solution, now called the WhatsApp Business Platform. It is programmable in interface. So there are a lot of backend integration possible for the WhatsApp API versus SMB app. For example, you can integrate like numerous backend system like a CRM, your marketing automation platform, and even the solutions like Interact, right? Like one-click solutions can be built where you are integrating your for example, the channel we're talking about, right? Your catalog is coming and getting linked, right? So all of that, the API can help you have that backend integration. Again, the bot integration to have the conversation, while SMB app is more manual. Bot integration can happen over API. In fact, thousands of agents can also be sort of connected. So you can have a switch between an agent and a bot as and when required. Again, this will have to be customized and programmed for you. But again, that can be done. And the green tick mark, of course, the verification, that the option of applying also you get with API. And again, basis brand notability, which is one of the important requirements, and 2FA and business verification and other few. You may not get it, but like the opportunity of applying for that stays. So ideally having bot kind of integration, possibility of backend integration, and the green tick is what I would suggest API for.
Got it. And then obviously you can, the most obvious and useful for a lot of merchants is the ability to broadcast at scale, right? Not being limited to the restrictions that the business app currently puts on. And as you said, the automations and
yeah, like solutioning, you can do a lot of solutioning. You can automate a lot of your work. You can, like how Siddhant mentioned about personalization, that will really, really help there. So yeah, that is where you would, if you're really, really, really small business, maybe doesn't make sense for you. But the moment you grow and you become power user, you few more customers, you want like multiple people talking to them, specialized offers going to them, I think at that point I would definitely migrate, like also graduate to a API.
Got it. Thank you for that. Yeah, I think before we move ahead, I'd like to take a moment and help everyone who has joined here to experience the future of commerce with Shopify, WhatsApp, and the sales channel that Siddhant mentioned before. So what you see here is a WhatsApp business number linked with the inventory that's present on a merchant Shopify store. And the syncing of products is done very seamlessly via the sales channel app. Your users are able to then browse products on their WhatsApp interface itself, add them to the cart, and then send it to you for a final confirmation. What the sales channel app does is also generates a link which allows your users to check out directly on Shopify with their products that they've selected already added to cart. In case of an abandoned cart, we also send out an abandoned cart reminder, which can help convert these abandoned orders. And once the payment is completed and the purchase is made, we also send out a confirmation to the user's WhatsApp number itself. So that's the sales channel app on the Shopify App Store in a nutshell. I hope you enjoyed this end-to-end commerce journey powered by Interact for Shopify merchants and on the WhatsApp platform. And now let's ask our experts about what their thoughts are on the same. So Swati, Siddhant, why has WhatsApp evolved as such an important channel for Shopify businesses? And how does it complement Shopify's already very powerful features? Also, how can Shopify merchants leverage WhatsApp as part of their growth strategy?
Yeah, I think it's some of the things Swati really covered, like a lot of this, right? Yeah. But what I want to just say is like, there are 550 million plus users now. Sorry, I had the outdated number there, Swati. So the number has clearly grown very, very quickly, right? And they're there, they're conversing, and they're already interacting with businesses, right? This tool just makes you have the ability to convert and give them that convenience on that channel, right? And obviously, it's not just the conversion piece, right? You can use Interact's WhatsApp plugin to basically interact with your consumers over the life of the customer's journey with you, right? Like whether it's pre-purchase, it's the purchase, or the post-purchase, right? I could get into each of the things that we spoke about as a, whether it's acquiring, converting, customer support, loyalty. But I think the best thing you can do right now is to actually try it on your store and enable it. It's a seamless plugin. I would highly recommend. We give a 14-day trial for everyone to try it, so you can always just jump on, set up a basic store, and start your journey. And you'll just know the value of it the moment you actually experience it, right? So I think I'll leave it there for now.
Great.
I think I will add, like Siddhant covered it. I will add just one more thing, or like in my head, like that having a catalog, what is there, what is not, updating it regularly, all that heavy lifting goes away. You can actually focus on personalizing offers for your customers, get them going, or, whatever are your lapsed customer, get them, assist them in shopping, get the things done. So I would say that like a lot of, basically it's like getting a digital identity, but with less heavy lifting is how I would feel. You've already done heavy lifting at one place. You can just use the catalog right away. So that is where I'm thinking of the sales channel right now.
Great.
100%.
Thanks for sharing those insights. Lastly, Swati and Siddhant, what are the actionable tips that you would like to give to the brands that have joined today? I'm sure they're eagerly waiting to hear from you all. Any tips, tricks that they can use to excel at their business this festive season?
Yeah, I think festive seasons are a great opportunity to grow your brand, right? Like, oftentimes though we see a lot of brands like, facing certain challenges. They expect, higher costs, skyrocketing CPMs. Those are some of the things that you'll hear during that time, because all the big marketplaces go big during this time, right? But it's important, I feel, for brands to realize that as they become bigger and as they look to scale and become, what you say truly a brand is, right? Like, it's important that they participate in this season, right? Almost 30 to 40% of sales happens in this country during this time, right? Like this 1 month period, 1.5 month period. And, obviously you have to be smart about what you do during this time, right? Like, so some of the things that I always tell brands to do during this time is to always have your remarketing or, retargeting campaigns on. And I think WhatsApp is a great way to do that. Definitely, it's very important that you basically understand who are the consumers that will be coming to your your shop at that time, and for what reason. So, if you come up with festive specific collections or create bundles which are high value, then you're able to sort of, offset the high CPMs that you see during that time, for, getting good value out of, this time period, right? Because people are willing to spend. Another 2 tips that I generally share with folks is that try to be smart with how you market during this time. Time-bound sales sometimes work really well. So doing a 2-day campaign, saying and running while you're running your ads, only running that campaign for 2 days, what that results in is just lower CPCs sometimes, because nobody will click on the ad and they'll directly come on the day. So you can just create a lot of awareness like that. So being smart and doing like mid-funnel sort of activations during that time, and not running campaigns like say minimum 40%, because then what you'll really do is just attract a lot of these deal hunters, but they won't really convert well for you, right? They'll just cost you a bunch of money. So have maybe an up to 50% instead, right? So I know I'm getting into the depth of it a little bit, but it's important that brands sort of take away these key messages, right? And be super sharp in what they do during that time. Carpet bombing does not work during festive season.
Amazing.
Sure, I can add actually to what Siddhant said. A lot of it he already covered. Now, if I think like a customer success SPOC for a brand, right? Very, very basics, couple of things, right? Is your number tiering sorted? Are you on a tier which will suffice you for your your promotion or for like your festive promotion? Are you on 10K or 100K? But very basic, but like you are not struggling for it towards the end. Have your offers and content ready in time, basis past data, be it your CRM or your Excel sheet or however, so that you have the cohorts ready on what are you sending to whom. Just before festive, acquiring right kind of customers and cohorting them basis your click to WhatsApp ad with relevant offering. Increasing your lifetime value using, very targeted promotional offers for relevant cohort around your festive sales. You're talking about your new and upcoming collections to your current customers already, and gauging that intent and sort of keeping that ready with you when your actual short-term sale is coming in. You are targeting to people who are actually interested to buy. So again, same, like using whatever data you have right now, dissecting it, getting the right content ready, using this time to do that. And actually when the festive comes, you're targeting right customers with the right content, so that like your conversion rates are high. That is what I would say.
Awesome. With that, thank you, Siddhant and Swati, for enriching our minds with these insightful answers. I'm sure that everyone out here is now armed with the learnings that they need to, grow their business, move to conversational commerce, and have a happy festive season, I guess. With that, we leave you to take a break if you'd like. Do stay on for the next 10 minutes, though. We have an interesting Q&A session coming up. But before we move on to the Q&A session from the audience, it's time to unveil the D2C superhero of our first masterclass. This brand is a twist on the classic Indian mithai and is a fine example of F&B and e-commerce business model. So without much ado, let's meet our D2C superhero.
Hi, my name is Yash. I'm one of the founders of Bombay Sweet Shop. We are here at our experience center in Baikala, which is in Bombay. What is Bombay Sweet Shop? So Bombay Sweet Shop is our reimagined Indian sweet store, where we take your traditional Indian sweets and recreate them in our own Willy Wonka way. So if any guest were to walk into the store, they can see the mithai being made every day, and they get a whole experience of it as well. We started this brand in March 2020. And as everyone knows, in 15 days, as soon as we opened, we were hit by a lockdown. So which started as a very retail-focused brand for us, quickly had to pivot itself to becoming an e-commerce direct-to-consumer brand as well. Now we were dealing with a product which has a very low shelf life, and we always believed in delivering the freshest Indian sweets to our guests or our customers. And that's where our relationship with Haptik and Interact began. We were looking for a product that helped us communicate with our guests through WhatsApp, and at the same time keep them fully communicated about their delivery as well as the product that they had ordered. Most important for us was the Shopify integration, and that's where Interact came in.
Great. Hi, Yash. Welcome to the D2C Masterclass. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon.
Thanks a lot, Asha. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Likewise, Yash. Before we dive into the questions, Yash, must say, big fan of your confectioneries. What did you come up with the concept of innovating this century-old mithai industry, right?
It's actually a long story. I know we've got not a lot of time, but I've been in the world of restaurants for a long time. We have a restaurant called Bombay Canteen, which for me recreated what Indian food was all about 8 years ago. But after that, I always wanted to get into the product world. And our company, which is called Hunger Inc. Hospitality, believes in celebrating India. And honestly, it was one day I was passing through Turkey and I saw a guy at the airport selling Turkish delights, which is their version of Indian sweets. And he was selling it with such pride and gusto. And that question mark came in my head, like, why are we not doing this with Indian sweets? And basically, that's a short summary of how Bombay Sweet Shop came about.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us. So Yash, I'll start with the questions in the interest of time.
Yeah.
My first query to you is, with so many e-commerce platforms and options to choose from, right? When you were starting off your own D2C brand, what made you choose Shopify as your D2C setup?
So like it was quickly summed up in that video. We opened on March 10th, 2020, not knowing that what's going to happen in the next 10 days. And we started as a retail only food and beverage outlet for Bombay Sweet Shop. And the simplest way I summarize this is when we had to open our website in July, if I, as an entrepreneur in food and beverage, and I want to come up with the best food product, I go out there and look for the best chef or the best cook who will make the best product for me, right? When it comes to building your own website or e-commerce, right? I am not from the tech background at all, right? We wanted to get a partner on board who is going to take care of all those problems and me not having to worry, "Arey, aaj server down hai or payment gateway nahi chal raha hai." Shopify became that place where me as a non-tech founder could use it end to end, did not need me to understand any kind of coding. From day one, we've never had a tech person on board, and we handle a lot of transactions. Like I'm in the middle of Raksha Bandhan right now, and literally the store is inundated with orders. We'll end up delivering around 1,000 orders just in Bombay tomorrow. So, and at no point am I worried that is my website going down. The simplest question in every founder's mind. So Shopify, with its apps, with its tech support team, the quickness in which they get back to you, I think was an easy option for us to pick up.
Got it. No, makes sense. Makes sense. Also, this talk about sweets and mithais is making me hungry. But moving on to the next question, as a D2C startup, Yash, what were your main pain points regarding business communication, customer support, and sales that you were trying to get solved? And how does the WhatsApp, Shopify, and Interact integration help you with that?
So I'll also bring into what Swati spoke about the Indian consumer. If you see my video, I always call a consumer a guest. For me, even if it's someone coming into my restaurant, my home, or on my website, they are a guest, and we want to give them the best service possible. Anyone walks into a retail store, they have 100 questions, right? And we knew that when we were starting a reimagined mithai shop, my first question was, were they even going to come online to buy it, right? And I know for a fact, no one in India wants another app on their phone. WhatsApp is what I feel even my company runs on WhatsApp with the amount of business WhatsApp groups I have. So the ease and convenience that WhatsApp brings to the table is unparalleled. So we knew we wanted to get our customer service built on WhatsApp. And to be honest, we opened July 2020, and our first big Diwali was when I was on a regular WhatsApp chat. This was not with Interact. And at one time, I'm not kidding, I had at least 60 chats open of guests asking us where the delivery is, right? And that was our first Diwali, and we were running with the smallest team possible. And I, as a founder, was replying to on a regular WhatsApp phone, just replying. And I knew that I needed to get someone on board who's going to help me with this. And that's how I reached Interact through Shopify's app store to say, oh, there is this easy integration possible. And that's when we got on to Interact. And where I'm bringing Swati into question is, when I talk about guests, I feel in India, you need to over communicate at every level. So over communicate when it comes to queries. How do I answer their queries as soon as possible? Over communicate to tell them your order is out for delivery, your order was placed. Those simple communications that come to you on WhatsApp, it's convenient for your guest, but at the same time, over communicating keeps them, in my mind, not worrying about "Arey, mera delivery kidhar hai," right? You need to take all those queries completely out of their mind by just over communicating. And that's where the Shopify WhatsApp Interact integration helps us tremendously.
Understood. No, that's very helpful. Thank you for answering that. My next question to you, Yash, is what success metrics have you seen post implementing the WhatsApp Shopify Duo for your business?
Sure. So in terms of, we use the abandoned cart through WhatsApp, and I'll compare it through we also use the same through email as well, right? On an email, we used to get around 5 to 8% conversion rates for abandoned cart emails. But through WhatsApp, it's between 15 to 20%. That same thing. And I feel it's also because of the ease of use, and it adds a lot to our revenue, especially if you look at it as lost revenue because someone came on your website, added to cart and lost it. But at the same time, I'm going to bring it back to what they were talking about, personalization. And I'll give you a very quick example to give you the metrics. It was raining in Bombay. It's been raining a lot, but it was one of those first rains, right? And I was also sitting at home. And I was like, if I'm sitting at home and looking at the rain outside, I feel like eating hot samosa chaat, right? And that idea, we also sell chaat through our own website. And people who've bought through Shopify get tagged then as if they like chaat and they've bought at a certain frequency as chaat loyals. So basically on that day, we sent out a personalized message, like a broadcast, only to the people who bought chaat in the previous year and a half, saying it's raining, you're all working from home. How about a good hot samosa chaat, right? And we've realized that by using GIFs, really well curated GIFs, which look fun, which look appetizing, we got 100 orders in that 1 hour, right? And it's the simplest, and it was just, we used one dish, but people then added more to it, right? And our average order values are at around 1,600 rupees. So just in that 1 hour, we were able to generate more than 1 lakh in revenue, which for a brand like us is really important. But it was also about targeting someone who likes that before and not just blanket carpet bombing as they were talking about earlier.
No, super interesting. Super interesting. I think you mentioned that in your video as well, right? You said rather than, just sending it out, carpet bombing to everyone, you actually segment based on the cohorts of people who have some sort of pattern in the past. And, that kind of helps bring up those conversions. That's very helpful, Yash. Right. So, further to that question, I have a question with regards to the type of notifications. You said, obviously, you sent out GIFs and, personalized these notifications, created them and send them to the relevant cohorts, right? Any other best practices that have been working for you? So
I'll be honest, we've always believed that discounting is not for us. We've never done sales. We are a brand that we just launched on World Chocolate Day, India's first mithai bar, right? Now, when I'm launching this, I didn't send a WhatsApp notification saying, we've launched a mithai bar, here is a code, please buy. Instead, we send out a notification for people who've bought chocolate-based products before, again, information that we get tagged through Shopify, to say, all you chocolate lovers, now you can be proud that India has its own chocolate bar in the world, right? And we eat Snickers, we eat Toblerones, which come from Switzerland or the US, but we have something that we can be proud of now, right? And it was a message which wasn't commercial. It was basically to make people who believe in my brand to say, this is something I'm proud of. And the amount of people who checked out with that indie bar, we call it the indie bar, was amazing. So don't be commercial always. This is for my brand, and I say it, we don't send out notifications more than once every 2 weeks. If you've bought something, obviously you'll get a notification saying order placed, order out for delivery, out delivered, but we don't send commercial broadcasts more than once in 2 weeks, because to what even the Shopify expert said before, that you will get blocked. People will start hating you and it'll be a reverse to what you were actually doing. So try and make it more, in a way, conversational. You could also send a broadcast with a question. We do that sometimes just to keep our audience engaged, saying, what is the next mithai you want to see on our menu, right? And it's just people just reply to it. So there are different ways of using WhatsApp broadcasts.
Got it. So basically what I'm taking away from what you're saying is, at the key of it all is customer centricity, right? I mean, the very fact that you treat every person who buys, your products or comes to your store as a guest, that just speaks a lot. And I think there's a lot of learning for not just, D2C brands, but all businesses in general, right? On how they need to think of and treat their customers. I guess, and that really at some time pays off, I guess, in the long run. And also what you highlighted was, definitely over communicate when it comes to transactional stuff, but don't bombard your users. I think that's something that you also mentioned. And also, you also mentioned about personalization in terms of how you can do it based on cohorts, etc. And then, of course, always take user feedback into consideration and innovate as you go along. Very valuable insights, Yash. Thank you so much. Would there be any other tips that you'd like to share? Some tricks? I know the audience is waiting for some sort of, magic hacks.
So the next hack I feel is people are waiting for festival hacks to come into place. I feel also changing your transactional message templates during Diwali helps. So Diwali for us, we are an Indian sweets brand, is huge. So we go 10x in terms of the number of orders. We always, when we write out our templates during Diwali, make sure to know that people are gifting more, right? So for example, Ahsahd, when you do a transaction on a website, your billing and shipping address and billing and shipping phone number are almost always similar, right? That's when, for example, you go on any shopping website. But when it comes to Diwali, Ahsahd, you are gifting to your mom, you're gifting to your brother. So the phone number that you gave us might be different from the gifter versus the giftee who's getting it. So you need to start thinking on those lines. So the templates for our messages would have saying, oh, if you're gifting it to someone else, please put this link and give us that phone number. When the guest sees you not just as, a template coming out from your WhatsApp brand, but more as you helping them during this busy time, is when your orders will go up. We at Bombay Sweet Shop truly believe is that customer service is what's going to help our brand improve. Yes, we have a great product, but if I don't give you great service, if you're waiting on my helpline too long, we use like she was talking about, we have at least 4 operators at one time on WhatsApp, just trying to replying to everyone. And as the festive season, as your brand increases, you are going to see 10x, but you will never be ready for 10x scale. I'm telling everyone here that you will never have 10x operators suddenly sitting there only for 3 days of Diwali. No, right? But be ready before 10 days and preempt your customer to say, there might be certain delays, but we are here to help you out. You might be gifting to someone. So why don't you do this instead? So preempt what you're going to see, preempt the problem in your mind so that you're helping them out even before getting there. To the earlier point, everyone is going to be giving a sale. You're going to be shouting in a crowd. Broadcasts are going to be going out from every big company. What can differentiate you is that personalization and you thinking like, so what we try to do is to make ourselves a gifting concierge for the Ahsahd. Ahsahd has 4 Diwali gifts to send. How can I help you to make it easier for you through WhatsApp?
Got it. That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Yash. This was a remarkable session. I'm sure the audience is really inspired as well and has received some incredible insights and hacks, which will surely help them improving their sales this festive season.